Howdy gang, and welcome back to Pool School. In today's very, very important video, I'm going to tell you what I believe to be the two most important and significant things you can do to keep your kids safe around water. So what do you say we get to it? Alrighty, two really quick things before we dive into this very, very important subject. Number one, thank you for watching, and I want to remind you to please like this video if you do, subscribe to my channel if you have not done so already, and please share my channel with everyone you know who owns a pool. And secondly, I want to thank the good people at Toro Performance Eyewear. They sent me these sunglasses to do a product review on, and I'm wearing them in the field for the next several weeks to see how they work. So far, I really like them. Especially the field of vision. There's no distortion on the vision at all. They're really, really cool. Anyway, thank them for sending me the pair to do a product test on. That video will be coming out in the next couple weeks. But if you're interested in their product line and seeing their sunglasses and what they offer, you can visit their website. I put a link to their website in the description below this video. And if you decide before the product review comes out to buy a pair because you really like them, then use the product code, the promotional code that will be below that link in the description below, so you can get $10 off your purchase. Alrighty? Okay, so as I said earlier, this video is very, very important to me. One of the reasons is because back when our daughters were younger, we nearly lost our youngest one to a drowning incident with adults all around the pool. So if you haven't seen my video on my 4th of July story and how that panned out, I think it stresses the importance of supervision. But I will put a link to that video in the description below this video, so please watch that. So this subject really hits home to me, okay? There are two main things that I believe are the most critically important to have in place when it comes to keeping your children and other children safe around water. Okay, now we're not talking about buckets of water or puddles of water, and those are dangerous too. I'm talking about bodies of water like pools or lakes, things like that. Okay, so these are the two, in my opinion, and based on what I've learned, the most important things you can do to keep kids safe. Now, remember, every little thing helps, okay? There are self-closing gates for just backyards. Those are good. They help, okay? There are self-closing pool fences with self-closing gates, okay? Those are good as well. There are pool covers. There are pool nets. Some are better than others, all right? There are all these newfangled gadgets, sensors that you can put in pool that will alert you through your cell phone and all that kind of stuff. Let me go on record as saying every one of those is helpful. But in my opinion, there are too many things that can go wrong with those. So having them in place is great, the more the better, but don't let it lull you into a false sense of security, okay? The two things that I'm going to talk about are by far the most important, and then those other things, we're going to give you additional buffers to protect your kids around water, whether you're there or not. Okay? All right. Oh, one more thing is the self-closing back doors. Those are great. And, everybody, a lot of times elevating the handles so that small children can't get to those handles to open those doors. Those are all good things. So please keep in mind, I'm not saying that they're not good. I'm just saying they're not foolproof, and too many people put too much reliance on those. And I don't think that's a great idea. Okay. So let's go into those real briefly. The number one thing that you should have in place is a designated, responsible person who's old enough, who's strong enough, healthy enough, big enough to be able to be designated to watch children anytime you are around water. Okay, that is super important. And again, my video on my 4th of July story, that was a mistake we made. All right, it doesn't matter if there's adults or kids around the pool. If you don't have a designated watcher, then you run the risk of a child drowning, even with everybody out there. I've heard countless stories and reports, especially in Arizona, about people having a pool party and their child is around the pool, or a child ends up drowning and there were people around the pool, okay? It's not uncommon. One of the reasons is because nobody was designated to watch the kids, all right? Make sure you have a designated watcher. I tell people all the time, it's like having a designated driver when you go out to the bars, if you go out to bars, okay? If people are going to be drinking, to make sure that you're all safe and you get home safely and you keep other people safe on the road, you have a designated driver who doesn't drink that night. So when you have a pool party, you have people at a pool, or you're at somebody's pool party, have somebody be a designated watcher. And you can take turns, right? But just make sure that that is in place. That is by far the number one thing you can do. Okay, then you ask, well, what's number two? Number two is something that's been around for several years now. I direct the martial arts program at a gymnastics center out here in Arizona, and they have several programs. They have dance, they have martial arts, they have gymnastics, tumbling, but they also have a pool and they have a swim program. The one that I see them getting the most results with is one called Swim Safe, all right? Now that's what they call it. Other places call it something different. The purpose of the Swim Safe program is to teach very, very young and very, very small children how to get out of a pool or survive should they fall into a pool accidentally, okay? This to me is critical. The statistics are astronomical on how well this program works, okay? So that is the second thing that I suggest people do. As early as possible, and contact your local swim schools, your local parks and recreation department, any place, and even maybe your local county or city, and ask, are there any swim safe programs or programs like that that teach very young, very small children how to survive should they fall into a pool? I know that sometimes they teach you how the child how to float on their back, to flip over on their back, and then to float and paddle their way to a side of the wall where they can work their way to steps and get out. I cannot emphasize this strongly enough how important this is. I have heard stories personally from this gymnastics center and parents who have had their kids in that, where it has saved some of their kids' lives. A couple kids for sure I know of, okay? You also have to find out what the age is on it. I've seen documentaries where, I mean, you literally have kids who can't even walk yet, learning how to survive and swim underwater and flip themselves over. So please, please, please do yourself a favor and make sure those two things are in place to keep your kids and other kids safe around pools and around water, okay? All the other things, all the other gizmos and gadgets and fences and self-locking doors and technology, they are all icing on the cake, and they just add a greater buffer to you. But those two things that I mentioned, a designated watcher and a swim safe program that a child has gone through, and when you do that, make sure that you're from time to time repeating that training in a pool so that they don't forget, all right? It's super, super important. And so that way you're going to really, really give yourself the best insurance of keeping kids safe when it comes to being around pools. So folks, that is my rather short, but I hope very heartfelt message and video on keeping the two things that you can do to keep kids safe around pools, and not just during swim season, even during the off season as well. I hope it made sense. If you have any questions or comments, again, you can leave them in the comment section below this video, or you can email me directly. My email address is going to come across the bottom of the screen, and I will do my best to respond to it. My email is kennypoolschool@gmail.com. Once again, kennypoolschool@gmail.com. Want to thank you again for watching. Remind you to like, subscribe, and share. And in keeping with the theme of this video, remember to have fun, be safe, and please always watch those kids and elderly folk and pets around water. And I'll see you next time. Safe swimming to you.